Welcome to our new YouTube channel.
Hi guys, Christine and Eddie here. Today we're going to talk about how we feel now that we're debt-free. Question 1. How do we feel now that we are debt-free?
For me, it's been quite the journey. It's been about 10 months and a lot has happened in those 10 months. But if I can say only one word, I would probably say that I'm very happy to finally be done. It definitely feels like we finally have financial freedom. How about you?
Now that we're debt-free, I definitely feel that sense of freedom. We have worked so hard and made a lot of sacrifices that feels good to be finally at the end. It feels really good to
Be done, I guess.
Yeah, and not feel like we are stuck. The next thing that was important for us was figuring out our why.
It's still the hardest question for me to answer because there's so many whys. We don't have any children yet. For us, that is in the near future. But our why was just basically be able to have that financial freedom. So when we do have kids, we can do what our parents do for us. They've been very good with their money. It just didn't make sense. If I had a teenager right now and they asked, hey, is there any way you can help me somehow, $3,000, right? Whether it's sports related, maybe even helping somehow with the vehicle. I don't know where we would have came up with $3,000. We saw our parents do that as we were growing up. Now it makes sense. They prepared, they made their sacrifices. And my other why is like, I want to travel, but I'm ready to go to Europe.
My why is very similar for our future family and even our current family. Like you said, our family has really spoiled us over the years and we're ready to spoil them back. And that's one way we can do it, is to not have any debt and not feel that tightness and crunch to use our money to pay off that debt, or feel like we don't have enough to do the things that we want to do, including spending our money on the people that we love. The biggest thing that we've been putting off, because we knew in the back of our heads that we really couldn't afford it, is the traveling.
People travel all over the world and you go, wow, how are you guys doing that? And we don't know because we try not to ask, but one connection that we have at least seen is that good old credit. It's like everything's free right when you put it on credit.
Who are we grateful for? I think first and foremost, we are the most grateful for our parents. Whew, they truly helped us out in so many aspects, just made us feel like we weren't in a huge burden by helping us out in different ways.
For me, I'm extremely grateful for our parents. They've been, out of everyone, they've been so supportive. My in-laws, I see them as my parents. I'm very close to my Christine's parents and my own parents, obviously. And they've made their own sacrifices to try to help us in more ways than they know. And I'm forever going to be grateful for that. The person I'm the most grateful for is my wife. I don't know how I would have been able to do this on my own without her. And I think this is something, when you start your journey, you need to really put some thought into it, because it could be a deal breaker for a marriage. There might be some battles, and you really have to learn how to pick these battles. You know that having those natural supports it's extremely valuable, because you could do this on your own, and a lot of people do this on their own. But when you have that support, it's just, it flows a lot easier.
What sacrifices did we make?
We made a lot of sacrifices. The biggest sacrifices for me was my time. I obsess over time, and to me, that's very important. How about you?
I think my sacrifices were just being a lot more diligent. I think it's easy to not pay too close attention and just be like, yeah, I made a budget. I know how much money we have for groceries, and instead of being very intentional about everything that you're doing. And then same thing, doing my best to try and make us more money in the aspects that I can. Every time I teach summer school, that's fun money for us. And this past summer, it all went straight to the debt. All right, guys, we're excited to bring you 5 quick tips that helped us. After we give you these tips, leave us some comments below if you want some additional videos for extended time on these topics, to give you more tips and tricks if you're interested in taking a debt-free journey yourself.
And subscribe below, please.
Quick tip number 1, understanding the difference between needs and wants. I think we talked about this a little.
After you start the journey, you start realizing what's actually a need. And basically your needs are, I believe Ramsey calls it like the big 4, right? The shelter, the having food, paying bills, and Remember the last one? Oh yeah, like your vehicle, like if you have to go to work, commute, and that kind of stuff. I might be wrong on that, but I've heard him talk about those kind of things before.
Two, like, it's easy to justify things, to say, you know, well, if we're not going to go out and we're going to stay home all the time, then I need to keep my cable subscription. And maybe you do choose and say, you know what, that's something I want in my budget, but it's good to just sit down and look at, where am I spending all of my money? That's why it's a lot.
Right, not a need.
And that leads us into tip number 2, a budget.
Budget. For me, the budget is probably the most important thing of the journey. The budget will determine how quick you're going to get to your goal. This can determine whether it takes you 2 years or it takes you 9 years, like your credit cards will say. But really quick, for budget, you basically allocate every dollar. And what I mean by that, every dollar, you give it a name. $5 can go into your entertainment budget for the month. But anyway, so budget could be like how much money you're allocating for your groceries, how much money you want to allocate for your gas, how much money you're allocating for your rent or / mortgage, right? How much money you're allocating to pay off whatever is it that you're trying to pay off.
You need to sit down, especially if you're in a household. If you're on your own, it's totally different. But it is good to have somebody to support you. But you really got to do it together, because you want to make those decisions together and not decide, well, I want this, so I'm going to put it in the budget. I want to talk and communicate with him and say, hey, this is something that's important for me this month. Can we please try and make it fit? Feel like you're making a good decision. Or if you're not making a good decision, you have somebody to kind of go halt the brakes, give it a few days, see if you still need it.
At the end of the day, just make sure everyone's on the same page. Talk to your partner. Don't hide anything.
Tip 3, be willing to do extra work. You were the one that did the most extra work.
We both had to do our thing, right? I'm thankful that I have a career. Even now, I get to work during this pandemic, and my heart goes to all of you guys that are affected and the ones that are out there grinding. My heart goes out to you. But really quick, as far as the extra stuff I did, the easiest thing for me was either Uber and DoorDash. And my car is probably not in the best condition to be Ubering, so DoorDash was definitely a thing. That was hard because I had to put a lot of things on standby. One of them is playing music because I'm out there delivering food. Another one was at work, I could actually pick up extra tasks where I can go to a different town within New Mexico and there's some mileage reimbursement. So my car is very fuel efficient, so that actually became a profit for us. But sometimes I'd have to travel 4 hours in one day and still have to do my job, still had to complete the things that I need to do. And when I was doing that 2 to 3 times a week, I got tired. I don't like driving too much, and that was hard for me. Mm-hmm. But I survived. You got to do what you got to do.
There's so many opportunities out there for extra work that helps to make your journey faster, and remembering that, again, the temporary. Now that he's done it, he's thinking, well, if I ever want something extra, and it'll make me feel better if I go DoorDash, because he can continue to do it. Tip number 4, you gotta stay disciplined and be okay with saying no. And I'm not gonna lie, we were not always good at saying no. We started last July. We were going strong. We were DoorDashing, doing our extra work, getting it all in. And around Christmas time, it's Christmas, we might have gotten a little off track. And don't you worry, we got back on it.
And it wasn't bad. We didn't go like, oh, we're going to spend thousands of dollars on stuff.
We didn't add to our debt. We just weren't as diligent about paying our money towards debt. Really, the big thing is budgeting everything.
Yes.
And we just during that time did not do a lot of budgeting.
All these tips are connected to each other somehow. They all connect to the why. It's all going to relate to the budget. It's all going to require discipline. And discipline is definitely a big one. Good to be able to use those skills and apply it to this, because I was definitely all over the place when it came to budget. I had no clue what I was doing.
It's just like anything else, like whatever you like to do or something you're interested in, the reason that you do so well at it is because you spend time on it, and the more we spent time on it, the easier it got. I also think it's fair to say that sometimes it's not going to be perfect, and sometimes you're going to make mistakes, and I think that is part of the journey, is learning from your mistakes, hones in those skills and makes those skills better for every aspect of your life. You're bringing in what you're good at, spreading out to all the other things in your life that need that discipline.
Right.
Tip 5. Keeping up with others. I know I struggle with it in various areas, but it's so hard to see people buy or purchase things or have nice things and think, but I want that too.
Or go to places.
Yeah, going places, traveling. I mean, we wanted to do those things, and one, we just knew we weren't able to. We didn't have the cash at hand to be traveling. It's hard to be okay with you not having things that are wants because you want them.
Yeah, correct. I was humbled by this process, and I'm so excited to see what's next.
We'll keep you updated.
Yeah, subscribe though, and be nice.
Please.
Please. Yeah.
All right. You're probably wondering, where did we get this idea? The plan we followed was Dave Ramsey. If you haven't heard of him, Google him. So much stuff will come up. I know we're not the only people making videos about it.
Man.
So many people. And I think that was very motivating because you hear people that had almost the exact same story as us. $50,000, did it in less than a year. And I know when we started, we were like, it's probably going to take us a couple years. And then the more you go, the more intense you get. You're like, we can do this faster. We can do it. It's really exciting.
We're very thankful for Mr. Ramsey, or Theo Dave. Appreciate it.